5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Meaning is one of the most important parts of human existence. Meaning. It drives us in all sorts of ways, many of which we're not even aware of. However, it's one thing to find meaning, and it's another thing to make meaning. And as it turns out, only one of them leads us to true, authentic, and abiding happiness. Which one is it? Do I make meaning or do I find meaning? That's what we're going to be talking about today on Ignition. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Bergwald, and we want to set your faith ablaze so that you might live the adventure that comes from a relationship with Jesus Christ. Before we get into this topic, we want you to know that we love listener feedback. So if you've got questions about today's episode, or if you have ideas for future episodes, please contact us. And the easiest way to do so is by email. And the address is ignition@sfcatholic.org. Again, ignition@sfcatholic.org. I am joined in studio again by Renae Kranz. Renae, did you ever see the movie Miracle?
I believe so. Is that the hockey one?
Yes.
I don't remember much about it.
There's this scene where they're playing the Swedish national team or something there, and they're just not paying any attention. They're just... And
Are you saying I wasn't paying attention?
No, that's not where I go. After the game, Herb Brooks, played by Kurt Russell.
Okay.
Herb Brooks, good Minnesotan, passed away a few years ago, actually. He has them do one of those, the thing, like if you ever play basketball, like any
ladders,
like where you go to the. He has the hockey players sometimes do this. And he has them do it over and over again. And guess what he says every time when they finish one? He blows the whistle and says, "Again." And he says it with the tight minute again. He keeps doing it over. So I'm joined in the studio again by Renae Kranz, who is...
I am Renae Kranz, editor of the Bishop's Bulletin and director of communications for the Diocese of Sioux Falls. Married to Ryan for 19 years, and from northern South Dakota originally, so up in the north, eh?
As opposed to southern North Dakota.
Right.
Yes.
Who wants to be from North Dakota? Come on now.
Sorry, listeners from across the border. Find a new guest co-host. Not again, Kranz, next week.
I have to say I'm very interested in where this topic is going to go, because if you don't know this by now, I don't know what the topics are until I walk into the studio a few minutes before.
That's not always true. It's been true lately.
It's almost always true.
It's been true lately.
Yes.
So I talked over you there because I'm such a jerk. I interrupted you. You say that again. You don't. If they didn't notice already, you don't know the topic until
when I walk in the studio.
You walk into the studio. There have been times where I've given you like a few hours of advance notice. Maybe. Sometimes a day.
Right. Oh, I don't know if that's ever happened. Maybe once.
I've given you like a week's notice a couple times.
So I'm really coming into this just like you are, listeners, and I'm as interested to find out where we're going as you might be.
So I started off in the opening little hook there by saying, and I'm going to make the assertion that either finding meaning or making meaning makes us happy, and the other doesn't. Well, and I should clarify. The false answer here, we can find some happiness, but not the fullness.
And I declared which one I thought was
and
incorrect
before we started the
show. So
Renae Kranz, director of communications, editor of the Bishop's Bulletin,
I have a feeling
the Diocese of Sioux Falls, wife to Ryan for 19 years, South Dakota native. Do I make meaning or do I find meaning in order to be as happy as I possibly can? Which two ways have been set before me. Which one shall I choose, to paraphrase Moses?
I think you would find meaning would be the right one.
So why do you think that?
Because this is very common in today's world. I think that we try to make meaning out of things that maybe we shouldn't. We try to make our own meaning instead of having it mean what it's supposed to mean. That makes no sense.
Well, you said it, though. I
know I said it. But I mean, how do I explain this? we want something to be a certain way. So we make it mean that. We make that meaning that instead of understanding what it really is. I think when you find meaning, even when something seems hard or like this is like the worst thing that could ever happen to me, there's clearly no meaning in it. I think you can find meaning in everything because everything's from God. Everything's, well, not everything, but I'm taking myself.
No. This is
sitting there staring at me.
I'm smiling at you.
Okay, so now you talk. I've already.
So why? Okay, so I think you're probably right. That is a common phenomenon today for people to make meaning or to actually make meaning, or at least try to make meaning.
Yeah.
But why do you think that? Why do you think it is that? So we probably will talk about that. But just the first question here: why do you think it is that finding meaning, of those two ways, so making is more common? Why is finding the road to true happiness, do you think?
To be honest, the more I was talking, the more I felt like they said they meant the same thing.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. Now I'm confused.
So no, that's a great no. So I'm glad we're going there. So
because you can find meaning, but you can make.
So
yeah, I'm confused now.
How do you make meaning? Give me an example of making meaning. How do I make meaning? You say people do it all the time.
You can fool yourself into making it mean something it doesn't, I think is what I'm going at.
Is there any way in which I can make meaning?
I don't know.
So this is so.
I'm so afraid to say anything at this point.
What is? We're gonna get a little meta, and okay. What does it mean to say that something means something?
It has a purpose.
Okay.
It has some impact, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Purpose, impact.
So to say that something has meaning says it has purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does it mean to say that I make meaning?
That you're making you're making your own purpose.
Okay. So can I make or can I give purpose to some? Is it possible to give purpose or make purpose of anything?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
So what's
don't ask me to explain that, but I don't think so.
But what's the alternative? Okay, so let's back up then.
God gives things meaning and purpose.
So God, all right. So and therefore,
everything has meaning and purpose.
And our job is to
find it.
Okay, so Renae
I was right. I just didn't know why.
I didn't say you were right. I'm just making sure I understand. I'm asking questions.
Okay.
See last week's episode on accompaniment.
Right.
I'm trying to understand.
You're accompanying me right now.
I'm accompanying you. So meaning, something's meaning is akin to its purpose. And Renae's proposal, hypothesis, theory is that we might try to, but in fact we can't give meaning to anything. That God has given meaning to something, and our job is to find it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm so scared.
Does the August 2021 issue of the Bishop's Bulletin have a purpose?
Yes.
Who gave the bulletin that purpose?
Well, ultimately the bishop, because it's his bulletin. But several people have a hand in giving it its purpose.
But none of those people, well,
but see, God gave us the ideas to figure out that purpose. We found the purpose.
Okay.
See, I'm really making this difficult.
So, all right, okay. So
you didn't see this coming.
You're proposing that God. It's okay. So are you telling me, Renae Kranz, that the Bishop's Bulletin of the Diocese of Sioux Falls is inspired by God?
Not in the way the Bible was.
Okay.
I'm not going to get myself in trouble that much.
All right. I was.
But God
hoping.
inspires the writers sometimes to to write certain things or to their ideas and so on. I think we're all inspired by those things. That doesn't mean
So
it's
everything
inspired revelation like the Bible
everything
is.
that I write is inspired?
Not everything. But sometimes, would you stop it?
So, all right, I'll tell you what I think.
Please just tell me.
No, but
We're
you're doing
10 minutes
really,
in
really
and-
well. You're doing really well, though.
Sure.
We do make things, right? We make things and we give purpose to things.
Sure.
And in that sense, it's possible for us to make meaning. When I create something, so you do, no, right, hopefully God is inspiring you when you edit the Bishop's Bulletin. Sometimes you write some of the stories. You are at least, at a minimum, if you're not the author, you are at least a co-author.
Right.
If God is inspiring you, lowercase I, if God is inspiring you, but you're still a co-author, you still have responsibility. You still have given meaning.
Yes.
You didn't. So I'm going to say that in the case, the things that we literally make, like if I make an omelet, I'm the one who's giving purpose.
Right.
Meaning to the omelet.
Okay.
If I make chicken cordon bleu,
That sounds much better.
I'm the one who's giving the purpose of it. So I'm choosing.
What's its purpose?
I decide that.
Okay.
So I would.
It doesn't just have a natural purpose, like to feed someone?
There was nothing until I made it. I'm its creator, and therefore, the creator is the one who gives.
You just
meaning
put together
and purpose.
something that was already created.
Oh, no. I made something.
Okay.
I made something. The Bishop's Bulletin is not just, see, this could get really deep really quick. The Bishop's Bulletin is not a collection of ink
True.
patterns on a dead tree.
Right.
You created something. It has a form philosophically. It's got a purpose. It's got a reason for its existence, which, yes, hopefully, I'm pretty confident God is giving, but you also gave. Now, we could pick other things. Like, I'm just going to give a sinful example. Hugh Hefner created Playboy magazine, right? Pornography, right? That's not inspired by God.
Right.
Hugh Hefner was the creator. He was probably, quote unquote, inspired by another entity, right? So human beings can create certain things. Some are good, some are bad, but both of which can have purpose.
Okay.
So it is possible for the point here is it is possible for us, at least in some cases, to make meaning.
Okay.
Okay. Do we find happiness by making meaning or finding meaning? That's the question. That's right. So if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Ignition, and I'm your host, Dr. Chris Bergwald, quizzing Renae Kranz, my guest host, up one side, down the other. Renae came into this episode because we're talking about what I just said. How do we find true happiness? By making meaning or by finding meaning? And Renae was pretty confident coming in. Well, she didn't know what we're talking about coming in. When she found out the topic, she was pretty confident that finding meaning. But do you see? So are you with me?
I do see what you're saying, yes.
Okay. So now the question, though, is, all right, for me to find true happiness, do I make meaning or do I find meaning? And this goes back to, I think you go.
Did I mess the show up with all my rambling?
So the
Yes.
omelet, the chicken cordon bleu, we determine their purpose, their meaning, how?
By how it affects us?
What
I
if
don't
you
know.
came across something that was clearly created, and you saw somebody? So you come upon me. Okay.
Oh, somebody enjoying it? Is that what you're
Or
eating
like
it, enjoying it? Okay.
you don't know, somehow you don't know what a pen is. Let's just imagine.
Okay, right.
And you see me holding this pen, not writing with it, holding it. And you want to know, what is this thing and what does it do? What would you do?
I would ask you.
You would talk to the person who is presumably
The creator, yeah.
the creator, if not the owner,
Right.
Or if not the creator, at least the person who's using
Right.
this thing, who's familiar with this thing. If I want to find complete happiness, true happiness, what's the thing that we're talking about here?
The thing?
So here, you're like, what is this thing?
It's not a pen, obviously.
What's the thing?
Our purpose in life?
The thing is us.
Okay.
If I want to be truly happy, this relates back to the freedom episode from a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. If I want to be truly happy, I have to operate according to my nature.
Mm-hmm.
Do I make my nature, or is it given?
I think it's given.
How do you know?
I don't know.
Because you didn't make yourself.
Yeah.
You did not bring yourself into existence.
Right.
So here's a fundamental truth about the way things are. People can disagree with me on this. Maybe if somebody emails me and says, prove it, we'll prove it. I don't have time to prove it now.
Nope, not anymore.
So it's going to be an assertion, I'm not going to make an argument for the assertion. I'm just going to state it. Everything that exists has meaning or purpose / purpose. Mm-hmm. Everything that exists already has meaning. Now, maybe it has it because somebody created it.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody who comes across the book, what's this? How do I know what this is? Well, I should talk to the editor or the publisher. Mm-hmm. Maybe the theological advisor. Maybe I should really talk to the graphics layout person.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yes.
You talk to the person. Everything that exists has a meaning or a purpose. Mm-hmm. I can only give meaning or purpose to something that's if I created it.
Okay.
I cannot give meaning or purpose to something, or at least a contrary meaning or purpose to something, unless I'm the creator.
Right.
So let me give you an example. I'm holding a styrofoam cup. Mm-hmm. Does this have a purpose?
Yes.
What is its purpose?
To hold liquids.
To hold liquids. So I can't give to this the purpose of pounding nails.
Well, you could, but it won't last very long and the nail will go nowhere.
What's going to happen to this?
You'll destroy it.
Is that going to make it happy?
No. Or useful any longer.
Correct. So only if now, you said its purpose is to hold liquids. Mm-hmm.
Sure, it can hold.
I just put, for the listeners, my pen inside the styrofoam cup. Oh, I gave a new meaning to this cup. You said it could only hold liquids, but I put a pen in it. So I just gave it a new meaning.
Stuff.
It holds stuff. Now, its primary purpose by the creator was to hold liquids,
right.
Obviously. But it can, but it's a compatible purpose for it to hold stuff. But it's not a compatible purpose for it to pound.
I was just going to say, you could also turn it upside down and hide things.
You could.
But now you've destroyed it.
But now I could still kind of. So the what's my point, Renae? Do you have any idea what my point here is?
It had a purpose, and you can't really change its purpose.
Right.
To some purpose just because you want it to be.
Right. Now, maybe I can give it a purpose that's.
That's what I was trying to get at the beginning, and I was very ineloquent at saying it.
But see, it took us 18 minutes to get there, so I just had more time.
Only.
What does that have to do with happiness and you and me?
Well, we should stop fighting against the maker and just do things that are our actual purpose.
Or are at least in accord with the purpose, like the pen, if not with its actual purpose. Like, it's interesting. Is there? Right now. I have to think about it, and I don't want to waste any more time thinking about whether or not that the pen analogy works with us. Like, can we do something that's not God's intention for us, but it's not against His intention? I think no, but I'm not sure. I know, unfortunately, that I can do the equivalent. This is just fun.
If you're not watching, he's completely destroyed the cup.
So
it's in
I
pieces.
can do this to myself.
Yes.
When I act contrary to my purpose, when I try to use the styrofoam cup as a hammer, when I act contrary to the purpose, the meaning that was given to me, it can. No, this is really destroying. Now, the great news is the manufacturer can always
Fix it.
fix it, unlike me.
Well, maybe not that.
Right? So
But-
it's always possible for the manufacturer of the human person to remake, at least at a spiritual level, unfortunately not always physically,
Right.
but at the most important level spiritually, that he can remake me. But our point is that if I try to create a completely different, a completely new purpose, contrary to his intention, I will at least do damage to myself, if not,
Right.
in a sense, destroy myself.
Right. Can I ask a question?
Please.
This might throw us off. Is this so? If we were to look at like using contraception as an example,
Yes.
that would be trying to do something that is against our nature
Yep.
and our purpose,
Yep.
because you're like eliminating a part of your nature and the sexual nature. Is that kind of what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's an example of where it's I mean, we're complex, so
Yes.
it's not like I'm.
Yes.
But that's an example of where I'm acting in a way that's contrary to my nature.
Right.
I'm trying to use a styrofoam cup as a hammer, or not completely, because there's an analogy there. I mean, just real quick with that specific thing. Marital intimacy, human sex has a purpose.
Right.
It's for life and for love. The problem is, but it's both of those together.
Right. It's
and we
not. It's
can't-
not either or. It's both.
not either
and.
or. It's both and. And so when we try, whether through things like contraception or in another completely context, in vitro fertilization, things like that, we're trying to separate something which is meant to stay together.
Right.
Those dual purposes are like a double helix, like
Right.
DNA. They're supposed to be, they're intertwined. And when we try to separate them, we're acting contrary to the nature of what sex is,
Right.
and therefore contrary to the nature of what the human person is. So that is an example.
And that can take away the meaning of sex and create just a lustful
Exactly.
thing
Right.
instead of those
so
two.
the thing that
things.
but when I'm trying to separate them, I'm not interested in the contraception. I'm not interested in the new life part,
Right.
but I'm interested in the love, the
Right.
affection,
Right.
the love part. So that's a good thing. So that's where it's not the same as trying to make a hammer out of a
Right.
styrofoam cup, because I'm still acknowledging the one purpose or end.
So that's
the
kind of
dual.
the putting the pen in the cup.
Right. But if
Sort of.
that'd
You're
be
still
like
using part of it.
poking a hole.
Yes.
There we go. It's like poking a hole in the bottom of the styrofoam cup. It can still do something,
Right.
but not the thing for which it was really
Right.
made.
Liquids.
Liquids.
Yeah.
It was made for liquids. Contraception is maybe akin to poking a hole in the styrofoam
Okay.
cup.
That's the weirdest
That's
thing we've ever come up with.
It's an analogy. It works. I'm pretty sure it works.
Bill's laughing. It doesn't work.
I revised the right to review and extend this episode of not extend, unfortunately, but to edit. Well, future episodes I'll correct any mistakes. But no, I think that's valid. So with regard to us, this is going back to from the beginning. At the beginning of the episode, you were, when it comes to us, you're right. I can't make myself mean something contrary to what I am
Right.
and who I am. If I try to do that, it will lead only to misery.
Right.
My happiness, like the styrofoam cup's happiness, is found by understanding my meaning. And I understand my meaning by talking to the Maker. God, it is in God that we understand the truth of who we are. As human beings in general, what does it mean to be human? But also as individuals. Not just who are we, what am I as a human being, but who am I? What is our purpose as human beings? What's the common way in which we find happiness and fulfillment? But also, what's my specific path within all those options? Because there's still, I could put coffee in here. I could put Coke in here. What am I supposed to do? So if I'm like a styrofoam, so human beings are like styrofoam. They're fulfilled in holding liquid. Okay? Human beings, we find our happiness in a whole variety of ways. Ultimately God himself. But what's the specific path? What's the specific liquid that I'm supposed to pour into? I'm dripping coffee.
This is very weird.
What am I supposed to put in my cup, if you will?
Sure.
What's my path? For both of those, we talk to the maker. For our common purpose, hold liquids.
Right.
For my specific purpose, Coke or coffee.
So the liquid might be for you,
Exactly.
might be teaching. For me, it might be writing.
Exactly.
So that's your liquid.
That's
where you're
that's
getting
my
at.
point.
Okay.
Right. For you, but not literally for us, it's marriage.
Just not to each other.
Correct. Thank you, Jesus. No offense. I had to say that.
None taken.
Because I'm surprised you didn't jump all over that. But for others, Father Scott, priesthood. For Sister Eileen,
Yep.
religious life. And then the questions within those. Okay, but within that,
Yeah.
teaching, writing.
Right.
How do we find happiness? But we know the maker. So we're getting in more detailed. The fundamental point that I want people to grapple with, though, is for ourselves, but for this, we have to help people understand that happiness is found in finding our meaning, not making our meaning. Yeah,
We are not God.
I can make the meaning of the article that I write for the Bishop's Bulletin. I make the meaning for that. I'm gonna do that the next couple of days. Write the article for September's issue. I am the one, hopefully inspired by God, but I'm the one making that meaning. But what about me? I can't make my own meaning. It's given. That's a given. That's a constant.
Right.
I have to ask the one who created me, what is my purpose as a human being, and what is my purpose as this specific human being? At Vatican II, the church said that it is in Jesus Christ, the Pope and the bishop said that it is in Jesus Christ that God fully reveals man to man himself.
I'm loving that phrase more and more every time you say it.
And I used it a couple weeks ago. It is in Jesus Christ that God fully reveals me, to myself. So it's in relationship with it. So Ignition is all about setting our faith ablaze so we live the adventure that comes from relationship with Jesus Christ. It's in relationship with him that I discover my own identity. Who am I? I know that in him. 5 seconds, Renae. What do you think?
I'm glad I'm off the hook now.
All right, you did well. Thank you, Renae, for being part of, for bearing with my questions.
Sorry for the disaster.
No, it is fantastic. So we'll wrap up this fantastic episode of Ignition. But if you do have any questions about it, or if you have ideas for future episodes, as always, please contact us. The easiest way to do so is by email, ignition@sfcatholic.org. Thanks and God bless.